Am I the bad one for not letting my 12-year-old stepson live with us? I do not want anyone to interfere in my life, and the child is unnecessary in my marriage. I have two boys, one aged 10 and the other 5, and I am going to get married in the next few weeks to my boyfriend, who has a 12-year-old son from a previous relationship. My future husband's son asked his father if he could come live with us after we get married because he wants to experience a genuine family dynamic with parents and siblings, given that his biological parents never married anyone else. My husband agrees with this idea, believing it would positively contribute to the boy's personal growth. I expressed to my husband that I have reservations about him living with us, based on observations made during the weekends he spends at our home. First, he seems to have a tense relationship with my younger son. He rarely includes him in activities unless I specifically ask him to do so. When I ask him to help the younger one, for example, by accompanying him to the bathroom, he does so with obvious reluctance. Secondly, he shows excessive competitiveness towards my older son. He constantly tries to outperform him and even mocks him when he succeeds. I find this competitive atmosphere uncomfortable. I want my children to grow up in a supportive and caring environment. Thirdly, and this is the most significant concern, his academic performance and behavior. My boyfriend informed me that his son has been struggling academically and has faced some behavioral challenges. I am worried about his potential negative influence on my children, particularly my older son. My husband dismisses these concerns as typical for his age, believing that with our guidance, he could improve. I sought advice from my mother and she disagrees with me, asserting that providing a united family environment could greatly benefit my stepson. Both of them label my reasons as unreasonable. Am I the bad one? Edit: many people did not quite understand the bathroom example I provided. Let us say we are at a park. I cannot let my 5-year-old go to the bathroom alone, so I might ask my stepson to accompany him for safety reasons. It is the kind of thing an older child should do for a younger one. Update: I know that I am not the best person, but I have never mistreated or ignored my future stepson. I care for him and I would never think of hurting him. I realize now that I was being overly protective of my own children and not considering things from my future stepson's perspective. I was afraid that my future stepson might bully my children, for example, by excluding the younger one from activities he enjoys, like building with blocks, or teasing the older one when he wins. But now I see that if he wants to live with us, it is because he cares about his future siblings. Moreover, as a responsible adult, I understand that I have an obligation to help him with his behavior and his grades at school. I talked to my boyfriend and I accepted that he can come live with us. Now we will need to move to a new house so that each child can have their own room, and we will have to work on obtaining custody. Relevant comments: information about the stepson's mother. Unfortunately, my stepson is the result of a one-night relationship, not a marriage. My fiancé said he even tried to have a more serious relationship with her, but she refused. She has always had custody of the boy and has never been married. It is just her and the boy. I work remotely, so even though I have work obligations, I will be the one providing the most assistance to the children. I do not see this as a problem, even with one more child. He lives with his mother who has full custody. He asked my fiancé if he could live with us because he wants to have a family with siblings. I do not know his mother well, I have only met her a few times, like on his birthday. After the update, we are going to talk to him and his mother tonight. I am going to tell him that our house is his home and that he is more than welcome here. We are going to say that we are even planning to move to a new house to give him his own room, but it also depends on the conversation with his mother. My fiancé thinks we will not have any problems. General opinion: you are the bad one. You are marrying his father, so you should start considering him as your son as well. If your 10-year-old son started displaying all these behaviors, you surely would not just kick him out and give up on him. You should get your boyfriend on board with ways to deal with the behaviors that you are not happy with. Post-update: initially I want to thank the comments that helped me understand that I was wrong. I learned that I was being extremely selfish, only looking out for my own children and fearing that they might somehow face bullying at home. But I was not considering the feelings of my stepson. I have also learned that the dynamics between siblings, something I have never experienced, inevitably involve a bit of competition and rivalry. I was so focused on myself and my children that I could not see that if he wants to live with us, then obviously he cares about us, especially the idea of having siblings. So I hope we will work together to build a great dynamic in our house. I talked to my fiancé and even showed him this account, and I told him that I agree our stepson should live with us and that I was wrong about my reservations concerning the boy. He talked to the mother of my stepson, who has legal custody of him. I did not participate in the conversation as I understand that it is a moment for the biological parents. Despite being reluctant, after hearing from her own child that he wanted to live with us, she agreed to work out an arrangement where he will spend a significant amount of time with us. My fiancé and the boy's mother will still have to discuss the details. After that, my fiancé and I took my stepson to eat his favorite meal and talked. I told him that we are happy to have him as a new member of our household, that we are going to look for a new house to better accommodate the family now that we will be 5, and that he can have his own room. He was very happy. We did not address some concerns that I still have, like the issue of discipline and following rules. I avoided that topic so it does not seem like I am threatening him to go back to living with his mother. I want him to feel unconditionally accepted in our home, but of course, we will have that conversation about discipline with the older too soon to prevent any issues and also emphasize the importance of maintaining good grades in school. Please, there is no need for anyone here to send me insulting messages. I have received dozens of offensive messages, and it does not help anyone. I have also received supportive messages with advice, and I appreciate those messages. The internet and this community do not need to be a place for hate. Relevant comments: you need to discuss discipline as soon as possible to be on the same page. I am aware of that. This issue has always been one of the key points for me. I have always believed that when a child is disciplined by a step-parent, they might perceive it as unfair, which can significantly impact the relationship between the child and the step-parent. However, we have discussed making a list of rules and the corresponding consequences for breaking each rule, so I hope that no one feels unjustly treated if something comes up that is not on the list. In that case, the decision will need to be a joint one between my fiancé and me. Author's stance: I have always told my fiancé that if my stepson came to live with us, it would be for the rest of our lives, as my stepson is not an object that we can return. For some reason I have always had that very clear. Additional information about the housing situation: it is still his own house. I completely agree with this, which is why I mentioned that I did everything to make him feel like the house was also his. But there is an aspect that I did not mention, and that is perhaps another reason for my choice of words. My fiancé is moving into the house where I live with my children, so chronologically, it makes sense for me to refer to it as my house and say that my stepson is a new member of it. Of course, from his perspective, we are the new members of his family.